Why is it that one person seems to have no issues whatsoever sticking to the diet, going to the gym, doing all the stuff that they need to get done and doing whatever they promised and said to themselves that we're going to do, while another person seemed to not be able to go to the gym for more than 1 week, stick to the diet, and generally manage to always fall short of what they're trying to achieve? Why is it that some people seem to have much more discipline than other people have? That's the question I want to try and answer in this video, and I want to give you the 3 steps to how you can build more discipline, because I know you've been in that boat before too. You said you were going to do things that you actually never ended up doing, or you fell short a short time after starting it. Whether that is sticking to a fitness routine, sticking to diet, being a better friend, going to bed early, whatever it is, at some point you've told yourself you were going to do something and you never actually managed to uphold that promise to yourself. And whenever you try to stick to something, and even if you really actually want to do it, you always end up falling short. Sometimes it just feels like it takes a tremendous and overwhelming amount of discipline and willpower to actually follow through on your own promise. So you end up giving up and you end up quitting. And that behavior right there leads you to always going back to your old routines, your old habits that you already know aren't going to get you anywhere. So how is it that you can break free from this? And how is it that you can build up this discipline that some people just seem to have so easily while you don't? What I'm going to tell you in this video is something that I've been working on for the past 6 years. And over these past 6 years, I would say I've built up quite a bit of discipline myself. I work out 10, 11, 12 times a week. For over 2 years, I woke up before 5 in the morning. And generally over the last 4 years, 5 years or so, I've stayed in very, very good shape in general, like being pretty lean all year round. And let me just spoil this for you right now before we get into it. Discipline is not a thing. It doesn't exist. It's not pure willpower that gets these people to do their actions every single day. It's something completely different, completely unrelated that most people don't actually seem to realize. It primarily consists of 3 different steps that you do in order, and if you do them right, you won't have to be disciplined at all. You won't have to force yourself to go to the gym every single day, or you won't have to feel like you need to have this tremendous amount of willpower to stick to your diet or whatever it is you want to achieve. You simply just do it. And it's the same thing that all these super athletes you see on Instagram and YouTube, like the David Goggins and the Nick Bears, it's the same thing that they do, but they just don't verbalize it. Because I can tell you right now, it's not brute force that gets them through their life every single day. That would be miserable, and no person would be able to do that. So with that being said, let's get into 3 steps. But before we do, just a quick note here. If you do end up liking the video, I would massively appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up button on this video. And if you're someone who wants to be more disciplined, more competent, and more confident in yourself, and you want to build the best version of yourself, you can join my free community by clicking the link down below, and there I have a whole video explaining more about it, exactly what you get, but it's completely free to join. Click the link and I'll see you inside. So the first thing that you need is you need to have a value set. And if you don't know what a value set is, it essentially just acts as sort of North Star for you. And this is something that I've had for actually quite some time, but I never really realized it until like, I would say a year or 2 ago, and actually like constantly put it into practice for myself. But essentially it just allows me to make sure that my behaviors lines up with the person that I want to be. And so very practical, what you do is that you take out a notebook, you take out a pen and paper, you open a Google sheet or whatever you want to do, and you just have 2 columns. You have your value and you have the meaning behind it. And so for example, you could be someone who values honesty, and you want to be that person that values honesty. You want that to be a character trait of yours, right? But that's very easy to say. It's very easy to just tell yourself and sort of brainwash yourself into thinking, okay, I'm an honest person because I value honesty. So that's why you need to have some sort of meaning behind it. Like, what does that mean? How do you show that in your day-to-day life? Like, are you honest all the time? Do you lie sometimes? Are you only honest to yourself? And so you need to figure out, like, in what scenarios are you, for example, honest, and how does that actually materialize in your life? And so when you have this written down, this very quickly becomes a way to keep yourself accountable, because now you have proof essentially of this is the person that I am, or who at least want to be. This would be my most ideal version of myself. And then you can check every single day or in every single scenario, like, did I actually live up to that person? Did I live up to the ideal version of myself? And if you didn't, well, then you failed yourself. And so let's say your value is hard work, and the meaning behind that is that you go to the gym consistent. Well, every time that you skip the gym, now you have essentially just failed yourself, and you've broken your promise to yourself about what type of person you actually are. And so this might seem very dramatic, but it's a very good way to just keep yourself in check. Like, okay, well, I feel tired, I don't want to go to the gym, but I value hard work, and I want to be a person that values hard work, and I want to embody that trait, so maybe I should go anyway. Maybe I have a value that I'm a very resilient person, and I feel very hungry right now. And a way for me to show up for myself and show myself that I'm resilient is that I can be hungry and not eat. And so you need to figure out like, what are these value sets for yourself that you want and what are the meaning behind them. Now, once you have your value sets, you can move on to step 2, which is motivation. You need something to get you going and you need some sort of reasoning for doing what you're doing. And so just realize this motivation is not something you use every single day and it then will fade over time. And depending on how strong your motivation for doing whatever you want to do is, the longer it will last, but it will fade eventually. So maybe it will last a week, a month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, but at some point you will no longer be doing your thing because of motivation, and so you need something else, which is what will come in step 3. But regardless, motivation is still a spark. It's a way to get you off your ass and actually get you going, so it's still a powerful tool, but just realize that there's an end date to that. Now, motivation, I see in 3 different levels, and so you can kind of see it as an upside down pyramid or an upside down triangle, and at the top we have word is bond or no motivation at all. Essentially the same thing. What I'm trying to say here is that you have no motivation for doing anything, but you have the ability to just tell yourself you're gonna do something, and because you value your own word, you're gonna do it and you're gonna stick to it. Now, if you go a step below in that in pyramid to the selfish motivation, well, maybe you want to go to the gym because you want to look better, you want to lose a few pounds, maybe you're overweight, right? That's selfish motivation, and that will last you longer than having no motivation at all. But at the bottom, we have selfless motivation. And so let's say you're morbidly obese, right? And you really need to go to the gym. Otherwise, you will die before your parents, or you will die early and you won't see your kids grow up. That's selfless motivation. That will make sure that you stay in the gym for much, much longer, and that will keep you motivated for such a longer time than you having no motivation at all. But it applies to fewer scenarios than having no motivation at all. And so this is also a tool for you to prove to yourself that you're a consistent person and you can do whatever you set out to do. And so the more you stack these wins and the more, for example, you go to the gym or you stick to diet or you're a better friend or you keep just upholding these promises to yourself, the easier it will be for you to tack on new things that you want to do, but maybe you have no motivation really for doing it. But you learn and you teach yourself that the promises you make to yourself is bonding and you need to uphold those. But try to find the deepest level of motivation that you can, because it will make you stick to it for a longer time. So now you have your value set and you have your motivation, you have your reasoning for doing it. Lastly, step number 3 is doing the action and shifting your identity. And this is where the magic really happens, because relating back to like the David Goggins and the Nick Bears and all these like super athletes you see online, they don't use discipline. That's not what keeps them going. That's also why they don't seem drained working out 3, 4, 5 hours a day. I don't know, like sometimes it looks crazy online, right? Like the amount of effort and the amount of time these guys put in, but they don't seem bothered. They don't seem like they're wasting that much energy on just the thought alone of suffering for a workout or whatever. It's because working out is part of their identity. That's how they see themselves, as a person who works out. And so going to the gym or going swimming or cycling or whatever it is that they do, it's just the default option. And this is the difference between you and them, is that you have to consciously think and force yourself to go to the gym, while their default action is that, of course I have to go to the gym. Like, that's a normal part of my day. That's a normal part of who I am. And so the same as your default option is to sit on the couch and watch Netflix, their default option is just to go to the gym. And it may sound weird, but if you can relate it to yourself, then like it's just the action that's different. And that's what we need to try and build up here. And so the quickest way for you to build up this sort of self-identity or belief in yourself or change your default action is essentially just to start small and build over time. But when I say start small, I don't mean as in go to the gym 2 times a week and do that for like an hour at a time or an hour and a half or whatever, and then just build up over time. I would actually rather say go to the gym 5 times a week, but just go in there for 15 minutes and then go home. It doesn't have to like be any crazy workout. Maybe you just actually start warming up and then you just go home. Because usually the hardest part is not actually performing when you are at a certain place, like at the gym, for example. The hardest part is actually getting out the door, packing your bags, making sure you drink water, getting your car, and then actually driving to the gym, right? That's the hardest part of it. And that's the action that we need to change. And this is actually the fastest way for you to change your default setting from being a non-gym goer to a gym bro. And all of a sudden you realize you can't imagine not going, because now it's just part of your routine and it's part of your identity. You are now a person that goes to the gym. And this applies to everything in life. And you can take this framework and just apply it to whatever area in your life you're trying to improve, but the gym is just an easy analogy. So that pretty much sums up today's video, guys. If you did end up enjoying the video, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And again, if you're someone who wants to improve yourself and become the best version of yourself, click the link down below, join my free community Aspire, and I'll see you in there. Take care, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.